Thanks, Kristen. Good evening once again, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for Tuesday, March the 17th, 2026, and we're being streamed live. So again, I will call the meeting to order with the land acknowledgement. We are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. Acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We honor their cultures and celebrate their commitment to this land. We would also like to acknowledge the Mohawk and Algonquin nations whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Hastings County is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Excuse me. First thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmorn Lake for Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric, second Mike. Any comments on that agenda? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Being none, I'll go on to the mayor's report. Excuse me. March the 3rd, I presided over the regular meeting of Marmorn Lake Council. March 5th, I attended the information center regarding the Alto train proposal in Madoc Township. The event was well attended and numerous staff were available to discuss the details. I recognize there is a strong opposition to the North Route on social media. There is also a lot of speculation and unverified information, but further information will be forthcoming. CAO John and I are registered to attend a roundtable discussion on March 24th. March the 8th, I attended the Women in Wellness Expo at the Marmor Legion, and we certainly have a lot of very talented entrepreneurs in our community. I attended the pancake breakfast sponsored by the Marmor Pentecostal Church and Free Methodist Church. The breakfast was great and there was a bake sale. Thank you to the businesses that made donations. And I understand that the proceeds went to the go to the two local schools. Thank you to those organizers of these events and for the volunteers who worked to make these events such a success. March the 12th, I presided over a special council meeting to discuss and debate the final draft of the 2026 budget. The final tax rate is 5.7%. The meeting was attended by the department managers to answer questions and explain budget items when requested. Thank you to Nancy Sinclair, Treasurer, for presenting an excellent budget document. And thank you to the department managers and support staff for their input and now to implement the projects and operational decisions made by council. March 13th, I met with the CAO. March the 16th, I spent the day in the office preparing documents. Just a reminder, there's public skating almost every day, I think, during the March break, and thank you to those who sponsored those events. March the 17th, this morning, I attended Hastings County Planning and Development and Finance, Property and Personnel Committee meetings for Hastings County. And today, there's the planning meeting and Committee of Adjustment and now Council. Thank you. So next, we have delegations or a delegation. The president and CEO of Campbellford Memorial Hospital regarding the redevelopment project. So I would ask you to come forward to the desk, please. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mayor O'Neill. I'm Terry Hayward. I'm the chair of the board of Campbellford Memorial Hospital and also the chair of our redevelopment committee. With me is Jeff Honkirk, the CEO, and also we brought with us a few people involved in the redevelopment project, members of the Campbellford Memorial Hospital Foundation, members of our Communication and Community Engagement Committee, as well as our landowner, Jim Curl, is here with us tonight. First and foremost, I want to thank you for allowing us time on your agenda this evening, and also for the support that you've provided in the past to the hospital through motions and or resolutions that enabled us to secure the government's approval to start planning for a much needed new hospital. You're gonna help with slides? Okay, great. So the first slide. As you know, if you've been to the Campbellford Hospital, it's getting up there. 72 years old now, and needs significant repairs, and of course lacks the modern healthcare amenities that we take for granted today, like infection control or negative pressure rooms for when there's contagious diseases. Even adequate heating and cooling in the building are not what they would have been designed 72 years ago. And we're consistently over capacity because the community has grown. Actually, if you've been paying attention to social media, we're over capacity today in our emergency department, and I had to put out a notice about that. But not only that, and most importantly, is the lack of amenities for our patients in terms of having rooms that don't have bathrooms or bathing facilities. We don't have many private rooms, and in terms of being able to provide therapy or restorative care, especially to our seniors, that's not really possible in the facility that we have. And as I mentioned, the ER, the emergency department, does not have enough beds. Doesn't have space if someone's having a mental health crisis, and has quite a small waiting room. And then last of all of those woes is accessibility. It's not a building that is easily accessible in terms of the entrances, the bathrooms, or anything else. And you reach a point with an old building, whether or not you put money towards those things to improve them, or do you focus on building a new building. Jeff is going to touch on some of the changing health statistics in our region, and then I'll talk a little bit more about what we're planning.
Well, thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Mayor O'Neill and members of the council. So building a new hospital on a campus here is more than bricks and mortar. Healthcare in Ontario is actually changing at a rapid pace. And the key trends that we're seeing right now is a rapid population growth across Ontario. In fact, locally, in the next 20 years, we're going to have an increase of 18%. We're seeing a significant aging of population. And in fact, in our area, we are growing older than the GTA in Ontario in our region. We're seeing a rise in chronic disease. We're seeing an increase in complexity of our patient care needs. We're seeing growing pressures, as Carrie alluded to today, in our hospitals and our emergency department. We're often over 100% capacity, meaning that we don't have room to see patients in the emergency department or actually admit patients when they need beds. It's because we are already full. So Ontario health system is and will continue facing a significant higher demand over the next 2 decades. Seniors over 65 are actually increasing from 2.6 million to 4.2 million in the next 14 years. So by 2040, we'll actually have an increase of double. We're also seeing a population of 85 and older more than doubled as well. So the aging population, we know, significantly will increase the healthcare demand. So these demographics have a major implications for our hospital's capacity, but also for our neighboring partners. The number of Ontarians living with chronic illness is expected to increase dramatically. The conditions that are projected to grow include dementia, diabetes, osteoarthritis, cancer, and kidney disease. And these conditions require ongoing care and specialized services, which we currently are unable to provide. More Ontarians are living with multiple illnesses. What we're seeing today is by 2040, it will double. So you come into the hospital with one illness, you'll be coming to 2 to 3 illnesses when you come to the hospital. So people will at least have more chronic conditions and will need more care. This means that patients will arrive at the hospital with more complex care needs. So healthcare spending is associated with major illnesses and will also increase, which reflects growing patient volumes, more complex conditions, and longer life expectancy. So people are living longer, but unfortunately are not living healthier. So we're seeing this regionally, but we're also seeing this locally. So as a hospital, and all hospitals must prepare for a higher demand and more complex patient care needs. So our hospital today is not a nice to have. In fact, it's a mission critical for our communities, on all our communities. In the east area of Ontario, which is our area, the fastest growing conditions is kidney disease, hearing loss, Crohn's and colitis, substance abuse and disorders, and dementia. And by 2040, we're going to see osteoarthritis, hypertension, asthma, diabetes, and hearing loss. So significant increases expected in major illnesses amongst the population between 70 and 89. So these trends mean that more seniors will need hospital care, more patients with multiple chronic conditions, greater demand for emergency care and inpatient use, increased pressures on our regional hospitals. So hospitals like Campbellford Memorial Hospital will play an increasing critical role in supporting our healthcare system. So why does this matter and why CMH matters in a regional system is we do provide local emergency and inpatient care. We are considered a relief pressure for larger hospitals like PRHC, Peterborough, Quinte Health. We support rural access to healthcare, and we enable care closer to home for aging population. So a strong Campbellford Memorial Hospital will ensure that the entire region of healthcare systems is working effectively. I will pass on to Carrie.
In terms of the opportunity before us, as I mentioned, the existing hospital is 72 years old. So what we're talking about now is not just a once in a generation, but once in a multi-generational opportunity to build the hospital of the future. And that opportunity is enabled by the generous donation by Jim Curl at the corner of County Road 30 and 35. And you may have seen this graphic, which lays out our vision for what's called a campus of care, which is really a place where you can bring together multiple health services in one place. So the first focus is rebuilding or building a new hospital with the improved accessibility, private rooms, restorative care that I mentioned before, as well as we'll be looking at the needs for things like dialysis and MRI. As Jeff mentioned, kidney disease is one of the things growing and really disruptive for people and their quality of life to have to go to Peterborough. We're also working with Omni Quality Care in looking at the replacement of Burnbrae Gardens. So they're looking to build a long-term care home with 128 to 256 beds also located on the campus. And also in terms of this vision is the potential for senior supportive housing, because we know all of those growing and aging seniors are not going to all be able to live in their 2 or 3 story farmhouse going forward and may need other options. And we don't have a lot of options for them to continue to live in the community independently. And as well, the community mental health clinic and our geriatric network and possibly other medical offices could be on the site, as well as preserving as much green space as possible, with the timeline for the project being 6 to 8 years to opening. But it actually takes quite a long time to plan a new hospital. The next slide. So in terms of, why we wanted to come and meet with you today, this project is highly relevant to Marmarin Lake. As you'll see in a moment, that the hospital is essential to the health services provided here. The population of your community makes up 15% of the overall catchment of the hospital. And as Jeff mentioned, our hospital is a critical partner working with Quinte and Peterborough Regional, as well as Northumberland Heights. So in terms of the why this really matters to the residents of Marmarin Lake, as I understand the municipality has over 4,000 residents. And we've started, the one thing about this project has been able to dig deeper and understand who we're serving and the amount of service we're providing to them. So this data is unique to the residents of your municipality. So last year, 1,755 visits were made to the emergency room by residents of this community. Now, that's not 1,755 people, because some people may have had to go more than once, but I would guess that there are still lots of individual visits. And those visits represented 67% of the visits made by someone in Marmora. So if you took your entire population and everyone that went to an ER, 67% came to Campbellford Memorial Hospital, followed by 10% went to Quinte, and just under that went to Peterborough. And so when people go to the emergency department, they go on their own steam, their family member, or they takes them, or they may take themselves, or an ambulance may bring them to the closest hospital for the condition that they're facing. So I think it's Campbellford is chosen because it's close by, it's nearby. It's probably a little smaller and a little less intimidating, but also it has a reputation that you might not wait as long as if you went to one of the bigger hospitals in the area. The next slide, please. So in terms of the inpatient use, that's a little bit different, but still quite significant. So an inpatient admission is when somebody is coming into the hospital and staying overnight, or even a month or longer, depending on the condition that they have been admitted for. And so there was 151 admissions from your municipality to Campbellford Memorial Hospital. And that represented 34% of all the admissions from your residents, which again was actually the highest of all of the hospitals in the area. Now, this number is less than emergency room usage, of course, because Campbellford only provides certain inpatient services. So you might be admitted from the emergency room, but you could also be admitted by your doctor, or you might be repatriated to Campbellford. Say you've had a stroke and you were at Quinte or at Peterborough. When you're no longer needing acute care, but still need to be monitored, you can be transferred back to the local area. Makes it a little easier for your family members to visit you. And then, so that might also be the cause of an admission. So for the more complex or specialized care, such as a cardiac procedure or obstetrical services, those of course would be delivered at Peterborough or at Quinte, or even, as you can see, a number of people went to Kingston. But the highest admission of all actually comes to our hospital. So Jeff's going to talk a little bit more now about what's involved in this big job.
Thank you. So next slide to the new hospital planning. So currently we are working with an HDR consultants. These are highly skilled planning firms that are in the planning phase of our community to determine the exact range of programs and services that should be offered. Remember that we actually have other healthcare partners, and we want to make sure that what we build is complementary and that it actually meets the needs, the unique needs of our area, just based on the health statistics that I shared. The process includes comprehensive consultations with many stakeholders. We are in the process now. We are speaking to patients, staff, local and regional healthcare providers, community members, municipal governments, and our Indigenous communities. We've also created a board and community-led committee that will continue doing and ensuring there's broader engagement. This information will come back in consultation, which will help us identify the most pressing needs of healthcare in our area, but not just today, but also for the future. Remember, our current hospital is 72 years old, so we want to build for the next 80 years as well and make sure we do this right. So the factors that we'll include in our planning will include demographic trends, population health, emerging medical advancements. Our priorities will play a role into what we develop. Our goal is to ensure that the new hospital delivers high quality care, accessible, tailored to the unique needs of our community, and also align with the broader provincial healthcare objectives, which is increased primary care, highly specialized services, increased access to adults living with chronic diseases, and more services for our mental health and addictions population needs. So next slide. So the ministry's health capital planning process includes 3 phases and 9 stages. I won't go through them all. Just want to let you know that the phases are early planning, detailed planning, and construction. So we are in the early planning phase, and we're at stage 1.2. So stage 1.2 is we are doing the needs assessment in terms of what do we need based on today and in the future. And that will inform our submission to get approved for the government to come back with us so we can have an opportunity to build 1.3, which is now that they've approved what we need, what does that look like in terms of size, programs, amount of beds, and footprint? We've already started meeting multiple municipalities because we're looking into early planning of roads, sewers, hydro. As Carrie alluded to, this is a 6 to 8 year project, and we want to make sure that we are on everybody's books and we're all planning together. Next slide, please. So building a new campus, a new hospital campus care doesn't just benefit the health of our population. In fact, our campus will be the largest infrastructure investment that we're going to see in decades. We're also going to see a 40% increase of employment in our area, and not only in the hospital, but could you imagine the constructions, new businesses in the area as well? We also do believe that the campus of care will help attract more human resources, primary care physicians, and recruitment and retention. We do believe that if you teach, you learn, they will stay in our area. We also do believe that the long-term care, also the new hospital, will help relieve our peer hospitals, which is Peterborough, Quinte, and Northumberland Hills, in terms of being a complementary to our regional areas. So next slide. So the financial requirement planning, the way it works, there's a standard formula. The province funds 90% of the cost of the hospital, and the remaining 10% is considered local share. Local share is mixed between donations, fundraising, and municipality share. In addition to construction costs, the community is also responsible for furnishing, fixtures, and medical equipment. So the local share is approximately 20 to 30%. We do not have that number at this point in time. We are now researching comparable Ontario rural hospitals redevelopment projects and how local share was developed and raised. And we will actually have that information later on in 2026 once we finish our first phase of capital redevelopment. So how could council help? We need your continued support, ensuring that the Campbellford Memorial Hospital redevelopment remains a municipal priority. We would want your engagement to assist in promoting upcoming community engagement opportunities to ensure that we have broader participation and that we build a hospital for everybody and we have everybody's needs. Continue advocating as partners with government, ensuring that we emphasize rural equity, physician need, and economic impact. The last slide is just the overall total service volumes. And I will just leave that with you. That just show overall that all our volumes in the ER, in our average occupancy, our total day surgery, total diagnostic imaging, everything is on a rise, and we'll continue seeing it rising, especially as we build and the needs in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good presentation. I think a lot of times we just assume that those facilities are there and that they're always going to be there. And I think it's so important that we recognize the need to advance just based on, I just know here our struggles to keep up with technology, and I'm sure yours are life and death, which makes it a little bit more important. But thank you very much. I'll turn it over. Does anybody have any questions for the delegates? Go ahead, Eric.
Sure. So you mentioned in here passing a resolution of support. Can you speak to that a little bit more? Is there any list of inclusions or specific language that you would like that to include that would better help make your case?
I think at this point, a resolution of support is indicating your community is working with us, interested in the future of the project, wants to continue to be kept informed. Because we've been approved to plan does not mean we've been approved to build. So as Jeff said, the phase we're in now has to be submitted to the government And then there will be a decision that we can proceed to plan in detail and then ultimately to start construction. So I think it really is a resolution of support and to continue and to encourage us to meet the needs of your community members as we go forward.
Thank you. Any other questions? Does someone wish to make a motion to, or I can, that we support your, I'm not sure how to term it, your application or,
I think it's a support for the hospital capital planning process leading to the redevelopment of Campbellford Memorial Hospital.
perfect, thank you. Did you get that, Kristen? Okay.
Peter.
Can I get a seconder for that motion, Eric? Anyone wish to discuss it further? Go ahead, Mike.
I was just seconding it, but yeah, it's one thing to build the hospital, and as they said, the community is also responsible for furnishing the hospital and all the interior things that work inside, which is a huge job all the time. They're always, all the hospitals are raising money continually to replace and upgrade chairs, beds, equipment, and all that. The province doesn't pay for it. All the local people have to pay for that. So I wish you luck. I hope so. I go to Campbellford for certain procedures and I live up close to Bancroft, but I always find Campbellford friendly and the people there easy to get along with. I actually I don't like go to the hospital, but Campbellford is one of the least ones that I least like.
Thanks, Mike. And I just want to say, a huge thank you. I know it's a huge undertaking for a big project like this, and I think you probably have a board of volunteers that are actively involved as well as your committed staff. And anyway, thank you to everyone involved in putting this project on the rails because we definitely need it. And I myself, I'm like Mike, I go to Campbellford Hospital, hopefully not too often, but when I have to. Anyway, anybody else have further questions on that motion? So I'll call all in favor. That's carried. And thank you again very much. And thank you to your board members that are here in support. So Kristen, under public input, do you want people to sign in advance? Makes it a little easier. Sorry. Oh, okay. Thanks very much again. Thank you. Next on the agenda is public input. Public input is time set aside on each agenda of each regular meeting to permit anyone in attendance to speak on any issue that is in the agenda. Public input will be received by council only. Comments or clarification by the public or councilors are permitted. Speakers may not speak disrespectfully of any council member, staff member, or any other person and must not use offensive words or gestures. So I will ask who wishes to go first. And please just sign in on the sheet there at the end of the desk. And it's 3 minutes maximum. Thank you. And can you say which item on the agenda you're speaking to? Okay, you want, just use the microphone there, please? Yeah, just turn it on.
There you go. So thank you for having this meeting today and letting me speak. My name is Jennifer Dajna. I will be reading part of an email that I sent to this council on February 25th of this year. Dear Mayor and members of council, I hope this message finds you well. I'm writing to respectfully inquire about the municipality's current position regarding the proposed Alto high-speed train project and Bill C-15. My husband and I have been closely following developments related to this initiative and would greatly appreciate understanding how these matters may affect the future of Marmora and Lake and its residents. We are in the final stages of purchasing property in the area and are very excited about the prospect of calling Marmora our home. We have been drawn to the strong sense of community, the welcoming nature of local residents, and the beautiful rural setting that makes this municipality so special. As we make this important life decision, it's very important to us to understand any potential impacts that large infrastructure projects or related legislation could have on the character, environment, and long-term sustainability of the community. In particular, we would appreciate any information you are available to share about council's views, any consultations that have taken place, and how residents are engaged or informed. We value transparency and community input, and we hope to become active and involved members of Marmora and Lake in the near future. Thank you very much for your time and for your continued work on behalf of the municipality. Just to note, between the time that I wrote this email and today, due to this Alto and the C-15 debacle, the sale of our house fell through, as the people who wanted to buy our buyer's house didn't want to risk being in the proposed corridor, which therefore means we are not moving to Marmora. Hopefully, we can all come together and fight this so that Marmora and all rural areas may be left alone and not be taken advantage of by our government. I may not live in Marmora yet, but I do feel that this is my home, as I have family and friends who call it home, and I wish to be closer to them in the near future. I would like to see if there can actually be a town hall with representatives who will be able to answer our questions, such as landowners association or experts to tell us what our rights are, etc. Because the Alto meeting in Madoc was, in fact, pretty useless. But thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Just anyone have any questions before? Thank you for your presentation. Thank you. Next. Welcome, Lori. You said welcome. Put the mic on. Turn the mic on.
Is that working? Perfect. I know I have 3 minutes and I did my absolute best and I'm going to read super fast, but the Alto project is huge and it is beyond 3 minutes. So I think I'm just under 4. So you can cut me off, or if you find it interesting, I'll keep going. So good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed Alto high-speed rail project and respectfully to the way the council has handled it so far. This could potentially be the largest and most expensive infrastructure in Canadian history, and to date, ratepayers in this township have not been properly informed and are completely unaware of how it will affect them. It seems the only initial access to this information has been an assumption everyone is on the internet and on Facebook. We have a very large population of people in our township who don't even know how to turn on a computer. This council has been aware of the project since November 2025. A simple notice in last month's tax bill would have reached every ratepayer, including cottage owners living in other areas, with minimal expense to the municipality. This did not happen, and I believe it was a major oversight. This project carries serious and long-lasting consequences. An expense of $9,000 for every family of 4 for every family in Canada. decrease in property values, decrease in tourism, which is the backbone of our community and local businesses, expropriation of farms, homes, and businesses, permanent loss of municipal tax revenue, road closures and infrastructure costs to the municipality, long-term impacts on agricultural and rural livelihoods, justified concerns about safety vehicles reaching residents. At the federal level, this is a $90 billion project. Locally, we receive no benefits, but we will carry all the consequences. Alto continues to avoid transparency, leaving routing, timeliness, environmental impacts, and compensation unclear. Council claims they have remained neutral in this subject, yet on January 20th, you voted to support Centre Hastings for their bid in a train stop, going as far to cite economic benefit. A vote for a stop is a vote for a train, in my opinion. I also want to raise the serious concern regarding Bill C-15, particular Section 191. If this section remains intact, it will directly affect residents' ability to defend themselves against this project or any future projects. It will undermine landowners' rights to fully and fairly challenge expropriation, restricted access to judicial review, accelerated expropriation with reduced accountability, compensation disputes resolved without proper scrutiny. This shifts power away from property owners and towards expropriating authorities, meaning residents could lose land, livelihood, or home with limited ability to challenge the process. This is not minor. It is a fundamental shift in property rights. Council is not powerless. You have the options to speak up for Marmarin Lake and to assist our local member of parliament, Shelby Cramp, by confirming that the municipal ratepayers are in conjunction with her. Send a formal letter to Shelby Cramp to validate the ratepayers' concerns in opposition of this bill to strengthen her opposition of it. Pass a formal resolution opposing Section 191. Submit it to federal representatives and ministries. Advocate directly to MPs for the amendment or repeal. Join coalitions of municipalities raising the same concerns. Just to note, Havelock voted this morning to oppose. Publicly affirm support for the protecting landowners' full legal rights. I formally request that the council present a motion to hold a town hall meeting to inform residents of the Alto proposal, as residents of Marmarin Lake deserve at the very least to be informed by their elected officials. I am prepared to organize it and invite credible speakers such as the Ontario Landowners Association, MPs, legal experts, etc. I attended the town hall in Sharbot Lake last weekend, and residents learned expropriated property may actually be entitled to be treated as a sale and will be subject to capital gains tax. Marmarin Lake residents should have access to this type of information as well, because they won't learn that type of information at an Alto session. In closing, I am asking the council to notify all affected residents immediately. The clock is ticking. Send a formal letter from Marmarin Lake Council to Shelby Cramp in support of her opposition. Publicly disclose all information sent and received on the project. Take a clear and transparent position. Make a motion to support a town hall meeting. Pass a formal resolution opposing Section 191 of Bill C-15. Submit that resolution to federal representatives and ministries. Advocate directly to MPs for amendment or repeal. Work with other municipalities who have already publicly opposed this project to collectively oppose these provisions, and publicly affirm support for protecting the full legal rights of our landowners. Right now, the people most affected by this project are the ones who are least informed. Thank you for your time and your immediate consideration to this matter.
Thank you. And any comments from, or questions from council members? Being none, thanks, Lori, for your presentation. Anyone else wishing to speak under public input? Being none? I have some comments. Someone else? You wish to speak? Yeah, just sign in on the sheet, please, and
I don't have anything in writing, so thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm a local around here and I'm not in the path of the Alto train, but my concerns are if it goes through, where it goes through, it's going to cut off towns. It's going to divide the people. Just the hospital people being in here right now makes you wonder if that goes through and it's possibly going to go through Campbellford, which side are we going to be on? What about the schools? What about the kids coming to these schools? They're going to be cut off. Everything from the town. Like, there's going to be one overpass in this town. Where's that going to go? People need to think about the infrastructure of this. Our tax dollars. I would pay $6,000 on a lot of a dead river. What's going to happen with my taxes? How much more taxes are going to pay with all the new infrastructure that's not included in the $90 billion infrastructure price? That's all on us. It's all on the taxpayers.
Thank you. You are done, are you?
No,
No, go ahead. Sorry,
No.
I thought you were.
and I'm not just worried about our area. I'm worried about the environment going all the way through. You say we're on Aboriginal lands, but yet we're gonna let a train go through. And this is a new track, people. This is not a used track already. That's where people are misinformed. A fast rail needs its own tracks. It's got to be straight. So if there's something in its way, it's going to plow right through. It doesn't matter if it's a school, a hospital, a river, marsh, it's going to go right through. This is a big, very big environmental impact on the people. It's not, there's no benefit to this town. They are not stopping here. It doesn't matter what you say, how you say it. Transportation minister has said there are 7 stops. There are no more because that will slow it down. The whole idea of it getting from point A to point B is no stops. So anyone thinking that this is going to go through and we're going to have a stop here, we need to stop telling people that we're going to have a stop here because we are not. And if people here have not informed themselves already on this, then you guys are not doing your job. You need to be informed. I watch Parliament. I watch the senators. I watch the questions. I watch the answers. They can't even give the senators the answers. So they're not going to give us the answers until it's too late. And when it's too late, it's too late. People lose their land, their homes. Even if it doesn't go through and they still expropriate, people still lose out. It's not going to be active for us till 2044, according to the transportation minister. Think about that for a minute. The cost that's going to cost us in the next 20 some years, and we don't even get to use it. What is the benefit for this community? There's no stopping. It's cutting it in half. Wherever it goes, it's cutting somebody's towns in half, not just ours. We need to think about everybody, not just ourselves. Thank you for allowing me to
Thank you.
speak.
Anyone have any questions for clarification? Seeing none, thank you. Thank you. I would just like to respond to the public input. First of all, thank you for submitting letters stating your position on the Alto project. This is a federal project. So our decision-making powers are limited. It's a federal project. I recognize that it's very sensitive and important issue to our community. At this time, I feel it's premature to take a position on the matter as there is so little confirmed information and significant misinformation. I acknowledge that most comments on social media are opposed to the project and people are being encouraged to sign petitions and to contact their elected representatives. I note that MP Shelby has expressed her position in opposition and Premier Ford has expressed his opinion that the 401 corridor is his preference. In discussions with some members of the public, not everybody is opposed, but they are reserving judgment until they have all the facts. This morning in Finance, Property and Personnel Committee at Hastings County, Councillor Claire Kennelly, the mayor of Tyendinaga, made a motion to oppose both the north and south routes. That motion was deferred to the Hastings County Council meeting, which is on March 26th. In the meantime, there is a further meeting on March 24th by invitation only to a roundtable discussion. This meeting is primarily for staff and other groups that may be impacted, such as EOTA, the trails, and other groups like that. I'm registered to attend that meeting, and it is my hope that more factual information will be available and valid answers to questions. The unknown and lack of information is hard for people to deal with, especially as it relates to real estate, businesses, environmental concerns, etc. I can assure you that any position by me will be in the best interest of the Marmor and Lake community and its residents. I'm going to recommend following the meeting on March 26th, that staff bring forth a report to provide council members and the members of the community with the most up-to-date information, and if appropriate, council can decide if they want to take a position on this issue. Thank you. So thank you all for your input and your letters of, for our attention. Next on the agenda is the adoption of minutes. That the foregoing minutes of the special regular meeting of council of the municipality of Marmor and Lake held Thursday, February 26, 2026, be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric, second. Jane, any discussion on those minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Minutes of the regular meeting of council of the municipality of Marmor and Lake held Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026. And the recommendation is that the foregoing minutes of the regular meeting of the council of the municipality of Marmor and Lake held Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder for those minutes, please? Ron, did I see your hand? Yeah, Ron, second. Jane, any discussion on those minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Staff reports. Community public skating event. And the recommendation is that council accept the community public skating event report dated March the 17th, 2026. And further, that council direct staff to provide public skating free of charge on Sunday, March the 22nd from 2 to 3 o'clock p.m. to celebrate the 2025-2026 ice season at the Dr. Hamilton Crawford Memorial Arena. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric? Second? Mike? Any questions or comments? Eric?
Just thank you to Jeff for bringing this forward and all the hard work him and his team have done this year, and the arena being back open and online available to the public. The public skating days have been busy. The arenas never looked better in all the work that they did have a chance to do in the off time. And Jeff's worked really hard as well at getting sponsors involved to bring forward more free days throughout the year for residents here to enjoy public skating at no cost. So thank you, Jeff, for bringing this forward and all your hard work that you and your team did this year at that facility.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Eric. Jeff, can you just tell me, when does the ice, when is it being taken out of the arena?
We will be, through the chair to Mayor O'Neill, the ice will be removed on March 30th, the first Monday after we have a year-end tournament this following weekend after this one. And it's been a successful season. And thank you so much to the public and everybody who has brought us back into operation. It's been a fabulous year, and we really appreciate the support. So thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Any further comments on that report? Being none, all in favor? Thank you. That's carried. Next is council remuneration for 2025. And the recommendation is that council accept the statement of council remuneration and expenses 2025 report dated March the 17th, 2026 for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric, second. Mike, any comments or questions? Nancy is online. Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Next, Marmor Drinking Water System Inspection Report. Recommendation is that council receive the Marmor Drinking Water System Inspection Report dated March the 17th, 2026 for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mike moves it. Can I get a seconder? Eric? Any comments or questions for Kayla? Kayla is online as well. Go ahead, Mike. Mike, did you want to comment? Oh, I think you're frozen, Mike, and I think we've lost Ron.
Exceptional report.
Okay, you're back on. Mike, you can go ahead.
Okay, am I back now? I just want to thank Kayla and the team down there. I think they did an exceptional job. The report came back very, very positive. At 100%, you can't get any more positive than that. And thank you. And everybody in town should appreciate we have safe drinking water in this municipality, and everything's going good and in the right direction. And just want to thank them and tell them to keep up the great job.
Thanks, Mike. Anything further? Any other comments? All in favor? That's carried. Next is Kayla's on duty here right now. She's on the hot seat for the next few motions. So the next is the NSF audit report. And the recommendation is that council receive the NSF audit report dated March 17th for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric, second. Jane, any questions or comments for Kayla? Again, I just repeat what Mike said for the first report, Kayla. All in favor? That's carried. Mike, are you with us? I think you. No. I think we lost them, right? And we've lost Ron, but we have quorum, so we're good. Okay, next is Schedule 22 annual reports. Recommendation is, this is the DeLauro schedule report and Marmor schedule report. So the recommendation is the council receive the Marmor and DeLauro Water System Schedule 22 annual report dated March 17th, 2026 for information. And I have a mover and a seconder. Eric? Jane? Any questions? Comments? All in favor? That's carried. Section 11 annual reports. DeLauro and Marmor, that council received this Marmor and DeLauro Water System Section 11 annual reports dated March 17th, 2026 for information. And I have a mover and a seconder. Jane, and second, Eric. Any comments, questions? All in favor? You're back, Ron. I see you now. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kayla. Good reports, and thank you for all your good work. Next is the workplace, or report by the CAO, Workplace Harassment Program Update, and staff policy manual updated section 4.5 workplace. And the recommendation is, and harassment and violence prevention, and updated terms of reference for the personnel committee. So the recommendation is that council accept this workplace harassment program update report dated March 17th, 2026 Further, that council approve the proposed administrative changes to the staff policy manual and the personnel committee terms of reference. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric, second. Jane, any comments or questions on that report? Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, I'll deal with the workplace harassment program first. A question through the chair to John. How do we communicate when we've updated policies? Not every employee at the municipality has an email address to circulate to. How do we communicate when policies have been updated or revised to all employees so that everyone has the information of changes to important policies like this?
Go
Thank
ahead,
you for the
Joe.
question. Through your chair to Councillor Dow and balance of council. This is an important item and is something that is the responsibility communicating here in terms of running council, but also making the responsibility with the department heads in terms of having regular meetings, but also once council passes this, we will make sure that that is provided individually to all staff so they are aware of it.
Thank you, John. Anything further? Eric?
Okay, I'll move on to the personnel committee terms. I think there should be a couple small amendments to this document. I guess the first thing is the terms don't dictate the role of the clerk. There's reference to the minutes being passed on to the clerk. But I think it's important in this document to acknowledge that the clerk must be present for minute taking so that this committee, the minutes for this committee should only ever be taken by the clerk, and that is missing from this document. And as well in section 8, the report under staff support, it says the CAO and deputy CAO. We don't have a deputy CAO. So that's a correction that would need to be made as well.
Go ahead, John.
So through your chair to Councillor Dow, those should have been in there. My apologies. The deputy CAO piece is something that I missed, but that absolutely is a correction. And I absolutely support the idea that the clerk and the clerk's role in terms of should be in the body of the document. Plus, it is only the clerk who should be taking minutes for that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's only a minor change that the clerk is identified in the appointment bylaw. But I think it's important to have that within the term. So I don't know if we want to accept this as amended with that change.
Well, I think there's one thing here that any appointed committee of council automatically has to have a clerk taking the minutes. So I think it's sort of a given, but I understand if you want to make it more direct.
Yeah, I think it's not clear because on the last page here, it says minutes of all meetings of the committee shall be forwarded to the municipal clerk to be placed, and then it continues
Yeah.
on. So it doesn't dictate specifically that it's the clerk's role to take the minutes.
But any committee of council appointed, it is the clerk's or a clerk or deputy clerk. That's automatic. But I don't think we need to. I think we can just approve the policy with those minor changes. Jane?
Just for clarification, so, Eric, when you're talking about the clerk taking the minutes, it's the municipality's clerk. It's not a clerk appointed within the committee.
Correct. That the municipal clerk or deputy clerk be the minute taker for this committee.
Okay. So any other comments? I think we've lost Mike again. Anyway, go ahead, John.
So if I may, through your chair to balance the council, we can make the changes so that on the second page under 9, so certainly under 8 in terms of changing, not having reference to someone who doesn't exist, but also the CEO and clerk will support the committee as required is, I think, part of it. The other aspect would be that on the flip over for the next part, minutes of all meeting of the committee shall be taken by the municipal clerk to be placed on council agenda. Perhaps that would meet your intent, and I think it's an improvement.
Yeah, I'd definitely be satisfied with that wording.
Thank you. But I think we can still approve it with those minor corrections. Okay. Anything further? as amended. All in favor? That's carried. I see Mike's back. Next is
Just a question.
update for
I don't think I'm-
Mike, did you want to speak?
Yeah, I don't think the cutoff was on my end. I just saw Ron go and then mine cut out. So I apologize. I just had to reboot everything to get back into the meeting, but
That's
I
okay.
don't know where it came from.
Yeah, thank you. So next is CAO status update for March 2026. And the recommendation is that council receive the CAO status update for March 2026. Report dated March 17th, 2026 for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric, second. Ron, any comments or questions? Ron, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just two comments. One is my internet, I'm at the Sugar Shack, so my internet here is spotty, so if I go out, that's why I'm going out. But the other thing, for John, what's the status, John, on our pothole program? I see we're getting near the end of it. I know, I've talked about it, but I kind of forgot. What's our status on that?
So through you, Chair, to Councillor Derry, in conversations with roads, there's a number of things that can be done with respect to that program, which also includes buying material. So there's going to be a combination of buying material to be able to go to work on the potholes. The temperature also has to cooperate with that, but there's a plan between speaking to Celeste and Eric at roads with respect to being able to fulfill all the funds that are there from the province by the deadline of the end of March. So in discussion, they are working on potholes where they can, but the other thing is that program also allows for the stockpiling of material to be able to use that portion of it as the weather cooperates and as those potholes will be repaired going forward.
That's great news. Thanks, John.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks.
Councillor.
Okay, anything further? Go ahead, Eric.
Can you provide an update on the EV charging project, where that's at? I've had residents ask me now that they've seen them installed.
Absolutely good question. Through your chair to Councillor Dow, they were installed on March the 2nd. We're waiting for Hydro One to do the connection. I've left a message for Hydro One to try and expedite that. I will follow up again, but the intention is that they'll come forward once that connection is done. And my hope is that it will be soon. I think the weather is partly dependent, but notwithstanding, once that is done, we'll make sure that our website provides an announcement that when those are open.
Thanks, John. All in favor of that report? That's carried. Thanks, John. Committee and board reports, Marmor Lake Public Library Board, board minutes for November 20th, 2025. The foregoing minutes and reports of committees and boards listed are received for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Ron, second. Mike, any questions, comments? All in favor? That's carried. Correspondence from Lori Tannehill, redacted. Recommendation that council provide direction to staff. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, I'd like to make
We
a
need a motion.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion on this. So I'm going to kind of put into words what you alluded to earlier. So the motion that council receive this letter for information, and further that council direct the CAO to prepare a report for council to be presented at the April 7th council meeting based on the stakeholder roundtable meeting scheduled for March 24th. That includes details of the information presented, a copy of the presentation, and a list of any questions asked on behalf of the municipality and answers provided by Alto.
Can get a seconder for that motion. Jane, any questions on that motion? Go ahead, Eric.
I'd just like to speak to that. I appreciate Lori's letter here. There's a lot of questions and a lot of points in here. The municipality up until this point hasn't been provided a lot of information. As you're aware, Alto had came to present to us last year, but the project and a lot of information that has come out since, there's more information now available. That information that's available to the public so far is the same information that up to date has been available to council. This upcoming meeting at March 24th will be the municipality's first opportunity to engage directly with Alto. That being said, I think a report back to council is important because we don't have unlimited seats at that meeting. That meeting is only going to be attended by the mayor and the CAO. So it's important that all the information from that meeting be brought back, not just to council, but to the public as well, and presented in a public agenda as this project continues to evolve.
Can I just make a suggestion? These three letters are all related to the same thing. Do we want individual motions, or do we want, can we group them and have a staff report like you're recommending to deal with the three letters?
I have some different motions for these letters, so I would prefer that they stay separate.
Okay. I just have to caution council that this is a federal project, and I don't know how much information staff can only provide whatever information is provided to them, because we don't really have any decision-making power. So just so that's understood.
Understood, but the point is that that information that only the CEO and the mayor will be privy to, an opportunity to ask questions, all of council doesn't get that information. So that information needs to be presented back to the rest of council and to the public. And that's the objective of this motion and asking for a report. That's what this letter alludes to, that there's a lack of information that's being provided. The municipality at this point doesn't have that information. This is the opportunity to bring that back to council and the public.
Well, and there's no question that the mayor and CAO will be bringing back as much information as we possibly can. And it was intended that, like I said in my notes, that that it would be brought back to council and a staff report requested. So that's the intention.
Why that's important now, though, is because the consultation deadline has been extended. So that the consultation deadline that existed before was a problem, because that roundtable meeting would have happened and council wouldn't have had the opportunity to review or pass any motion or discuss any of that information that came back from that roundtable meeting. Alto scheduled that roundtable meeting, and then right after that, the consultation closed. So it's the municipality has the onus to provide feedback as part of that consultation process.
Well, and I do think that the reason that the deadline got extended was because of letters like this, and there's petitions online. And I think that that was effective in getting the consultation date extended. So we have to work with their.
Sure, but
There's another meeting. If anybody wishes to go, there's another meeting in Sterling, and I believe it's on the 25th. So if anybody is interested, I would imagine that it's the same kind of presentation that happened at Madoc Township. I'm just assuming that, but just so that if you're interested, there is another meeting in Sterling. So anything further? Go ahead,
Continue.
John.
Through you, Chair, to Councillor Dow and council, so the presentation was one that I became aware of in September to meet at a conference in Eastern Ontario. That was why we brought it forward in November. I believe the councillor is correct that a lot of that information is either online or has not been shared specifically. In conversations with Alto and their representatives, I did indicate our concern, as the councillor has pointed out, that the meeting was the 24th, the deadline before was the 29th. I think that plus other conversations obviously led to the extension, but they've also been very good in terms of saying they will take whatever comments we provide, and even before that extension. But I do think it's a good idea to be able to bring all that stuff as best we can, bring that forward. The only thing I would ask is if there's anything more in the report that's being required of staff. So it's one thing to talk about the questions and the answers, providing any presentations. Is there anything else that in either this or subsequent motions the councillor and that council would like?
And I would encourage any member of council to give John and I any of the questions or something that that they want us to bring up if we have the opportunity. I have no idea what the format of this roundtable will be because it involves other invested groups like Yoda and those snowmobile company or organizations and so forth. So I'm not familiar with what the format will be, but any member of council, and if anybody wants to give us questions beyond what the letters have, I'd be glad to. Actually, John is going to be the lead person there. This meeting is more for staff like CAOs and clerks, I believe. Unless I know more about the format, but I just encourage you, if you have any questions, give them to John. If you have any input, I think Jane, you indicated at one point that you had some questions, and direct them to John. Okay, go ahead, Eric. Oh, we got a motion on the floor. Do you want to reread it? Because
Need clarification. So that council received the letter for information, and further that council direct the CAO to prepare a report for council to be presented at the April 7th council meeting based on the stakeholder roundtable meeting scheduled for March 24th. That includes details of information presented, a copy of the presentation, and a list of any questions asked on behalf of the municipality and answers provided by Alto.
got that, Kristen? Okay. Any further comments? So all in favor? That's carried. Okay, next is Alto high-speed train, Jennifer. Recommendation that council provide direction to staff.
Question? I believe Eric still has the floor. He had a couple of other motions to make.
This is the next letter. Are you moving it, Jane, to receive her information? We need to put down the floor, though. We need a mover and a seconder. Oh, well, this is to provide direction to staff. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion, excuse me, that council received the letter for information, and further that council directs staff to put a public notice on the municipal website reminding residents of the March 25th public consultation in Sterling, added online engagement session for March 23rd, and also informing the public of the extended consultation period now ending April 24th.
Is there a seconder? Jane? Any comments? Go ahead, Mike.
I was just seconding it.
Any questions or comments on that motion? John?
Sorry, hopefully my notes just didn't capture it. The idea is to indicate, so through you, Chair, to the councillor, the session on the 24th, which is the panel, the 25th, which is in Sterling, and the extended deadline.
Yeah, through the chair, I don't know if we need to include the 24th on that, but the municipality previously did put out an announcement on the municipal website
Yep.
when the consultation platform's still open. Now that that deadline has been extended, I think it's important to communicate that to the public and then remind them of the open house. Also added an online session, so we can remind them of that, and then remind them of the tools that are available for them to provide feedback with the map, with the survey, and with the ability to upload a brief.
Thank you for the clarification.
Anything further on that
I
motion?
would just like to,
Go ahead, Mike.
I would just like to add a comment to Eric's motion. It's just a comment. I don't want to change the motion at all. I think, people are looking for information from us to go through all these things. It would be much better if everybody, as Eric said, filled out the consultation form and sent it in, because the more letters they get, the more that they realize people are looking at this and are either happy with it or very unhappy with it. So, it's great to come to council and tell us to do that. But if you're going to be online and you're looking at all this information, make your own comments. And as Eric said, I do believe there's a form on there. that you can send in your own comments and everything like that to Alto and the province, or be the feds, I guess. That would, I carry more weight than us doing it. If they get 10,000 letters, that's going to tell them more information than getting, 49 councils.
Thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Eric.
Through the chair, just to continue on Mike's point, why that is so important to participate through the Alto consultation platform is because that's the information that's going to get aggregated for the next step, which is the impact assessment that's going to be done by the federal government. So unless those things are identified, those components won't be a dominant part of the impact assessment. And when it comes to identifying the rural barriers that exist and the issues that it would bring forward and the concerns specific to Marmorant Lake and our community and the proposed corridor, we need to identify those through the maps. And I'd encourage any resident at home to go on that mapping tool and take a look and make sure things are points of concern are identified on that map so that they can make it to that impact assessment, because those are the things that Alto ultimately is going to have to respond to and propose solutions to.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Next is letter from Sue Keach. And again, the recommendation is that council provide direction to staff. Go ahead, Eric.
I'd like to make a motion on this letter as well, that council receive the letter for information, and further that council directs staff to make a request to Alto to hold a public engagement session within the municipality of Marmorant Lake in advance of the April 24th consultation feedback deadline. And further, if that is not possible, return as a delegation at a regular or special meeting of council to present by April 21st in advance of the April 24th consultation feedback deadline.
Is there a seconder for that? Jane? Any comment? Jane?
I'm concerned about giving them a choice of either coming here or there's the second option.
Yeah, we're getting down in time now. At the federal level, the current federal government and MPs have suggested and recommended that municipalities that are concerned reach out to Alto to request additional consultation and activations within our community. I think why that's really important here is because this will have an effect on our community, and the information when Alto came forward last year, that information has significantly changed. The consultation portal wasn't even open yet at that point. There was no southern route even being talked about. So I think it's important to give residents, local residents, the opportunity to engage. Although there's other local sessions right here within our community, if that's possible, even if it has to be online, I think residents, there would be a benefit to that. As was brought up earlier in public input, not all residents here have access to the internet to go online to be part of that portal. If you can't participate through the online portal, your only other option then is going to one of the open houses and speaking to someone who's standing there with a tablet who can document your concerns for you to get those on record.
But I'm sorry, you may have misunderstood my concern. We're giving an option to Alto, either come here or the other. Are you sure that that's going to go over with them?
Well, the two options are either primarily we are requesting that they hold a consultation session within our community. And if they can't do that, then at bare minimum, come back before council as a delegation and give us an updated presentation so that we have the opportunity to ask questions.
Okay. Anything further?
Go
ahead, Mike.
I would just like to reiterate, I don't think people should wait until we get an answer back to Eric's question. If they have major concerns, as Eric has said, get online, put your concerns in, and right away. The more people that they get letters from or emails from, the more impact it's going to have. It's okay to wait till the end, but that problem with that is you may be too late then to submit anything by the time you get your information. So I'd encourage you to go online or get together with somebody who does have a computer and go through it and then submit your questions or your problems or your concerns immediately. Don't wait around.
Thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Eric.
And in that same notion, that applies to us as a municipality as well, right? We have a deadline of April 24th to provide our municipal feedback about the concerns about how this project will affect our municipality and the issues here. So we are against that same wall, that we need to ensure that we submit feedback regardless of what the position that council chooses to take is. At least submit at bare minimum feedback identifying what some of the concerns are so that they can make it towards the impact assessment.
Thanks, Eric. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Next is utility bill adjustment request and the recommendation that council provide direction to staff. Comments or questions on that request? Yes, I know. Anyone wish to make a motion on that request? Go ahead, Jane.
I make a motion that the municipality deny the request.
Okay, second for that. Eric? Any comments, Eric?
Through to Chair to Kayla,
Good one.
what's the precedent in situations like this where a water leak is involved? Can you explain that for council and the public's information?
I'll ask Nancy maybe to comment or do you want to? Oh, there's Kayla, sorry. Go ahead, Kayla.
Yeah, no, I understand the frustration of unexpected bills like this. Nancy does do a bit more with the billing, but the house should be inspected frequently for leaks. And in the past, I don't believe we've given exemptions to this.
Go ahead, Mike.
Since I've been on council, we've never approved a rebate back for anything like this. And there's been some other major ones too. So I think we'd be setting a dangerous precedent by approving a rebate back. So I agree with Jane.
Thanks, Mike. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Next, Jill Stewart, Campbellford Memorial Hospital Auxiliary updated annual tag day request. And the recommendation is that council approve the Campbellford Memorial Hospital Auxiliary's request to hold their annual tag day in Marmor on Friday, May 15th and Friday, September the 4th, 2026 to be located at Potter's, your independent grocer, in brackets with their permission as in years past. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that? Mike? Second? Eric? Comments? All in favor? That's carried. Marmor Public School Municipal Facility Rental Fee Waiver and Reduction Request Policy and Exemption Request. The recommendation is a big one. Whereas the Marmor Public Schools Food for Learning program hosts a spring pancake breakfast annually for all students who attend the school, along with their families, over 30 staff members and approximately 20 volunteers. Whereas this meal has been prepared and served at the school in years past, but must be relocated this year because the space used previously as a kitchen has been reassigned as a classroom. And whereas the event does not meet all of the requirements of Section 5 of the Municipal Facility Rental Fee Waiver and Reduction Request Policy, as it is not open to the public at large, it is open to all of the students, their families, staff, and volunteers of Marmor Public School, has educational value and involves strong community involvement. that council approve the request from Marmora Public Schools Food for Learning Program for an exemption of the municipal facility rental fee waiver and reduction request policy to waive the fee for the rental of the Lions Hall for the morning of April 16th, 2026, to be coordinated with staff for preparation for their annual pancake breakfast. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric, second Mike. Comments, questions? Jane?
As they've alluded to in their letter, they have asked already for an exemption on a prior event, which council, the majority of council allowed the waiver. I guess my question would be, do we know how long the school is going to be without a kitchen, and is this going to be a regular ask?
You know the.
Yeah,
answer to that?
I sit on Marmora Public School Parent Council, so this is something that the board has actively been working on and that Parent Council has been advocating for renovation of the space. There is a kitchen plan now that has been approved by the board, and work will begin on that towards the end of the school year in anticipation to get the new kitchen up and running by the beginning of September. So this is, yes, we've made this request to them before. This is an extenuating circumstance because there is nowhere to prepare food. The Food for Learning program continues to run at the school, but volunteers are washing dishes in buckets and cooking on little hot plates. They can't even plug in multiple toasters right now without blowing a fuse because there's no space for food preparation. So these renovations are coming and will be done in the upcoming year. So this is kind of I would assume the last request, because Christmas and this are the two times of need here where they do that, where they do an all school program.
Yeah, we did present or approve the exemption at Christmas. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Hastings County Council report of February the 26th, 2026, and the recommendation is that council receive the report for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Jane, and second Eric. Any comments or questions on that report? All in favor? That's carried. Building Inspection Services Board, February 2026 report, and the recommendation is that council receive the report for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Ron, second. Mike, comments? Questions? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Bylaw 2026-19 for the Center Hastings Support Network. And the recommendation is a bylaw 2026-19 being a bylaw to authorize the municipality of Marmora Lake to enter into an agreement to receive dedicated gas tax funds from the province of Ontario, Ministry of Transportation, as the host municipality for the Central Hastings Public Transit System, be read and passed this 17th day of March 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mike moves second, please. Jane, any comments or questions on this bylaw? All in favor? That's carried. Notice of motions or announcements. Any announcements? Jane? And then Eric.
I have an announcement. I wish to make the clerk, council, and the ratepayers aware that I will be absent on the meeting of April 7th. However, being that it's going to be a pivotal meeting as far as Alto is concerned, I'm going to work with the clerk to get the agenda and see if there's a way that I can offer comments while absent. I don't know if I can do that. Okay. least I'll get the agenda. Thank you.
Go ahead, Eric.
I'd like to remind families of the public that there's free public skating all week from 3 to 4. Thank you to all the local businesses and donors who came forward to cover that cost to allow it to be free all week. I'd also recommend checking out the schedule at the library as they have activities going throughout the week that are also free for youth during March break. On Thursday, the Lions are hosting RBC for an online scam and fraud info session. That's taking place from 7:30 till 9 o'clock and is open to everyone from the public. The Economic Development Advisory Committee is looking for new members. The deadline to apply is tomorrow. The commitment is 1 meeting a month. If you visit the municipal website and check out their careers tab, you can find out more information about that advisory committee and how to apply. If you're thinking about it and not sure, or you have questions, please reach out to me and I'm happy to give you a little bit more information on what's involved on being on that committee and what the mandate and what kind of projects the committee takes on. Reminding the public that the Alto information session, March 25th in Sterling from 11 to 3 and 5 till 9 at the Sterling Lions Club. It's open to everyone. Alto has also added an online session March 23rd that happens live at 7 o'clock that you can sign up for. Reminding the public that the consultation period has been extended till April 24th. I'd strongly encourage you to participate. Drop a pin on the map on an area of concern, complete the survey, or submit a written comment. This feedback is essential for the impact assessment process and making sure that our local concerns are properly identified.
Anything further? Seeing none, we need a motion to go into closed session. To convene into closed session, and the recommendation is that council will proceed into closed session meeting at 7:20 p.m. under the Municipal Act 2001, Section 239(2)(b), personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. D, labor relations or employee negotiations regarding policy enforcement. And I need a motion. Eric, second. Jane, all in favor?